All right, if you're a licensed professional, you know that feeling, that little jolts you get when you hear the words surprise inspection, right? It's this mix of, oh no, did I miss something in this giant mountain of rules? But what if you could just flip that switch? Trade all that anxiety for total confidence. What if knowing the rules wasn't just about dodging a fine, but about stepping up and being a real pro? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into. So yeah, I'm asking you directly. You've put in all the work, right? The long hours, the studying, you passed the exams, you earned that license. But here's the thing, that piece of paper is just the starting line. The real gut check, the real test of your professionalism, that often happens the moment an inspector walks through your door. So let's be honest. Are you really ready for that? Okay, so check this out. Down in Kentucky, there's this one beauty academy that's decided to tackle this anxiety head on. And they're teaching something, well, it's a pretty radical new approach. They're not just telling their students to be compliant. Nope. They're aiming way higher. For this philosophy they call over-compliance. And this right here, this is the core of everything they do. This mission statement from the Louisville Beauty Academy, transparency is not optional. It is our standard. You know, that's not just some catchy slogan you put on a brochure. It's a promise, a real commitment to being open, being accountable, and making sure everything is crystal clear for everybody involved. So you're probably asking, what in the world is over-compliance? And it's a really powerful idea. Look, it's not about making more busy work for yourself. Not at all. It's about being more diligent. It means you don't just check a box next to a rule. No, you take the time to really get it, to understand it. Then you document what you're doing, and you do it all with total transparency. It's the difference between just getting it done and truly getting it right. The whole model this academy uses is built on this one simple, powerful belief. Law literacy is career protection. Think about that. They give their students direct access to the actual laws. We're not talking about simplified summaries or someone's interpretation. We're talking the real deal. And when you do that, something amazing happens. The regulations stop being this annoying chore and they become a tool you can use to protect your business, your license, your entire career. Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, right? But how does it actually work in the real world? Well, if you want to be over-compliant, you've got to know the rules of the game, inside and out. So let's do it. Let's break down the specific Kentucky regulations that every beauty pro needs to have on lock for when an inspector shows up. And here's the first hurdle. Take a look. This is the actual legal text. Yikes. It's dense, it's packed with legalese, and honestly, it's pretty intimidating to look at even if you're super dedicated. And this is exactly why just handing someone a rule book and saying good luck just doesn't work. You've got to break it down into plain English. All right, let's start with the easy stuff. What needs to be out in the open for everyone to see? When an inspector walks in, what absolutely has to be visible? The law boils it down to 5 key things. First, your license with your picture on it. Then the salon's license and the manager's license. If you're in a school, all the student permits need to be up. And finally, and this one's a biggie, your most recent inspection report has to be posted where people can actually see it. Okay, next up, what can an inspector actually do? What are their rights? The rules are really clear on this. They can come into your place anytime during business hours. They can ask to see and even copy any records tied to your license. And they have to inspect you at least once per license term. You know, just understanding what they can do makes the whole thing a lot less mysterious and stressful. Now, the law is also super specific about what it calls unprofessional conduct. And listen, this goes way beyond just sanitation slip-ups. This is about honesty, it's about cooperation, things like lying to an inspector, refusing to let them in, or, and you'd think this goes without saying, trying to bribe them. Those actions can have massive consequences for your license. This is where your professionalism is really on the line. So, knowing the rules, that's step one. That's the foundation. But this academy in Louisville, they teach a second step. And honestly, it might be even more powerful. It's a technique, a tool, that makes sure you are always acting with total clarity. You could almost call it their secret weapon. They actually train their students to follow this simple 5-step process to ask for clarification. And here's the key. They teach them to do it in writing, like in a text or an email. It's simple. Step 1, you politely confirm their name and agency. Step 2, you ask for the specific law or regulation they're pointing to. 3, clarify exactly what records or items they need to see. 4, make sure you understand what you're supposed to do. And 5, you ask for a written report. See, doing this creates a perfect time-stamped paper trail for both of you. And that simple process, it completely changes the game. Look, some people might see asking for this stuff in writing as a way to delay things. It's not. It's the opposite. It's diligence. It is the absolute peak of professional responsibility because it ensures you're going to comply correctly and completely. And guess what? That's the exact same goal the regulatory board has. You're on the same team here. All right, let's zoom out and put a bow on this. This whole idea of law literacy and overcompliance, it's not just about getting a passing grade on an inspection. It's so much bigger than that. It's really about laying the foundation for a successful, long-lasting career. Because this knowledge, it's literally the key that unlocks the next level of your career. Think about it. Going from being a great professional to being a successful salon owner takes more than just being good at your craft. It requires a deep understanding of the laws that run your business. And that understanding is what protects your money, your time, your investment. It's what lets you grow. So in the end, it all comes down to this gold standard mindset. And it's a pretty simple loop when you think about it. Respect the authorities, ask clear questions in writing, take a beat to really understand, document everything, and then comply completely. That is the real difference between just being a rule follower and being a true professional. And that brings me to a final question, one I want you to really think about. We've just walked through one way of looking at this. But in your career, in your world, what's the real difference between just being compliant and being a professional? What's that line for you? What mindset, what specific actions separate someone who just follows the rules from someone who truly leads?